What an honor to be asked to speak to all the people that I admire the most and to be partnered up with the amazing Candy Cruz. As many of you know, I've been with this incredible company for 18 years. And for many of those years, my team sat at the advanced and senior director level. I have been asked so often, why after so many years in the business did things change? Jill Lerner likes to tell everyone I had a hysterectomy, they took my uterus, and I finally grew a brain. But that's only part of it. Honestly, up until recently, I didn't really know why everything started to fall into place. I would ask myself that question all the time. Then at National Conference, we were introduced to the 4 pillars of belief, 4 pillars of success. Belief, passion, skill, and will. After hearing Judy speak at conference, I finally realized what had been wrong with my business all of those years. I had cracks in every single pillar. At the time, my belief, my passion, my skill and will pillars were damaged, and until they were fixed, I was never going anywhere. You see, back in the day, I never believed I could recruit like Jillian Grant and Lauren Ross. I had lost some of that passion that I had when I first started, which I believe happens after a while. It's kind of like a marriage, you start to take it for granted. And that's kind of what happens, I think, to most people. I really had no skill in the recruiting department or the developing leader department, and I was not willing to do what it took to move forward. So really, each one of those pillars had severe cracks in them. I didn't know that then, but I certainly know that now. The past 18 years has been an amazing journey with this pampered chef, and I have learned so much. Some of the most important things that I've learned through this journey revolve around the 4 pillars: the belief, the passion, the skill, and the will. Belief. Mine wasn't always so strong. What about yours? Do you believe in our company and all that it has to offer? We all know it's been a tough couple of years for some. Maybe some of you have a crack in your belief pillar. Can we fix that? I really believe that we can. You need to believe in yourself before you can ever believe in somebody else. If you don't believe that you can recruit, if you don't believe that you can develop leaders at a steady pace, then you never, ever will. We need to be intentional about it. We need to be purposeful about it. It really doesn't happen any other way. I know that now. I didn't know that then. And then there's the passion. I know many of you have lost that spark, that passion. I do believe it's normal to have that happen, but how do we get it back again? Well, for me, it was working in Macy's, making $10 an hour during the holiday season to help out a friend. It takes a very short time to realize what a gift this business is when you realize what others have, or should I say others don't. And what about the skill? How do we learn that? For me, I feel like that's the easy part for all of us. We have so much information from home office, from all the leaders in this room. Kathy Ellis and I partnered up and offered a program to our teams, and we had so much success with it. We promoted so many directors. The truth is, I learned how to be a better leader from Kathy. But here's the thing. You need to learn the skill before you can ever teach it to anybody else. For so long, I never wanted to learn. Tracy actually did an interview with CNN, and she said if you don't go to bed smarter than when you woke up, it wasn't a productive day. I went from not wanting to learn to surrounding myself with people that teach me so much every single day. You all know that Jill's my director, we're the best of friends. But I didn't learn how to recruit from Jill or develop leaders from Jill. She'll be the first to tell you she's not a trainer, it's not what she does. But Jill is an incredibly successful national. You'll hear from Cammie talk about all of her systems that she has in place and how much success she has with them. Not everyone is a systems person. Jill's not, and I'm not. We both just speak from the heart and reach from the heart. But I will tell you what Jill does do that makes her the success that she is. Jill has that belief pillar so strong that an earthquake couldn't shake it. Because she believes so strongly, she gets everybody else to believe. When she meets someone, there's that spark. She tells them that they will be her next director. That's what I've learned from Jill. Recently, she left my holiday party and she called up 2 of my team members. And she told them that she was so impressed with them and that she doesn't call everybody and that she had to call them and tell them that they were destined for success. They were so blown away that Jill Lerner called them and took the time to speak to them. It made them feel so special. So the skill part is different for everyone. There are many different ways to find success, but the bottom line is you need to find the way that works for you. For so long I stopped learning. But we all know when you stop learning, you stop growing. Looking back, now that's why I know I was a senior director for so long. I didn't want to learn and I wasn't growing because of it. While we're talking about skill, let's talk about developing directors. We all know that in order to develop directors, we need to have people to work with. That's the bottom line. This business works in cycles. First, we need a pool of people to choose from, and then we can focus on developing them. I can remember when Jill called me up that morning and said, "Do I need to worry about you going green? You have 8 people on your personal team. What's wrong with you?" How was I, a little meaner than that, but I won't get green. How was I going to ever develop a leader when I didn't have anyone to develop? I knew I had to grow my team first, so that year was going to be my year to grow. And grow we did. My personal team went from 8 to over 100 that first year. And here's the thing, I didn't do it by myself. When you start recruiting, your team will too. We all know that the leader sets the pace. I went home from conference that first year I earned Circle of Honor. I was so inspired. But what was next? I knew I wanted to be a better leader. I knew I wanted to help more people get the more from their Pampered Chef business. I had the opportunity to fly to the UK, and I spoke to National Executive Director Sue Caldwell. She shared something with me that resonated like nothing else. She said that if you're ever going to develop leaders at a steady pace, this is something you need to focus on every single day. She said that when you go in your office, the first thing you do is you work on your personal business, because without that, we have nothing. But when that is done, the rest of your time needs to be spent on developing leaders. One of the first changes I knew that I needed to make was how I was creating that desire for leadership in my organization. Why would anyone want to be a director if I wasn't focusing on it all the time? I knew I needed to talk about that and talk about it more. So I needed to share that desire for directorship with that same passion and excitement I was sharing the business opportunity at my shows. And I wasn't doing that. I created a director slide and I shared it at every single meeting. Do we sometimes have people that sign on and take off like wildfire? Sure, occasionally, but that's not usually the norm. That's why it's so important to constantly be offering directorship to everybody. That year I came home, it was September 2012, and I reached out to each person on my personal team, and I told them it was my goal to be a better leader, and I was starting a program to work with a select group on promoting to director. I asked if it was something that they'd be interested in. I didn't just limit it to the new people, I asked everyone. I had my directors invite their people from their teams. We all know things change, situations change, and someone who wasn't interested before certainly might be interested now. And lo and behold, there was someone on my team who had been a Facebook consultant, that was an excess teacher and suddenly needed income. She went on to be one of my next directors. So it's certainly important to ask everyone on your team if moving into a leadership role is something that would interest them. When they said yes, I invited them to be part of my Destination Director program. I used that same system in 2013 and 2014, and I'm continuing with it right now. After Christmas, a couple of weeks ago, I called everyone, new and old, personal team and organization-wide, and let them know that I'd be starting the program for the next 6 weeks. It began on January 4th. Before the program, we had a breakfast as a group. I let them get to know each other and form that bond. We have weekly Sunday night calls that focus on bookings, host coaching, and then recruiting. We all know without a full calendar, they'll never promote, or if they do, they will never last. So the bookings training is as important, if not more, as the recruiting part. I also have one-on-one calls with them during the week, and we talk about the additional income and what it'll mean to their family, what it would be like to earn a trip and take their spouse or significant other. We set a date for them to promote, and we celebrate each one of their successes. I give them that belief that they can do this. I keep a folder for each one of them to keep track of their progress and show schedule, so I know when they're working. I have them call me after each show to let me know how many people were there, how many bookings they got, how many recruit leads there were, and how many recruiting packets they gave out. When I don't have a show, you better believe that I go with them to their show so they can hear me again, because amazing things happen when you double team at a show. The bottom line is I attach myself to them like Velcro. Will they promote? Will they all promote? Of course not, but we know that, but that's okay. These programs produce new directors, but what they also produce are very strong consultants. To me, running these programs is imperative to all of our organizations. We all know the reality, 1/3 are coming, 1/3 are going, and only 1/3 are working. If we don't replace those that are going, we're never moving forward. And finally, I'd like to talk about the will pillar. I'm going to share a personal story with you, and I'm going to be completely honest. When I came home from conference earning 2 Circle of Honor awards this summer, I was overjoyed and grateful beyond belief, but the other thing I was completely burnt out. I was mentally and physically exhausted from the past couple of years. I felt like I needed a break. I'm sure many of you in this room have felt that way at some point in your business, and many of you may feel that way right now. But here's the thing, can we ever really step away? I think we know the answer to that. These past 6 months, I took a step back, and it's no surprise that my recruiting and my director promotions have suffered as a result of that. And why am I sharing this with you? Because we all know that we all need to know that consistently recruiting and developing leaders is not an option. I stopped being intentional. These past 3 years, my pillars have stood so strong, I have not had the slightest crack in even one of them. And that's why I've had the success that I've had. People ask me all the time, Sharon, what's your secret? What's your magic? There is no secret and there is no magic. If you're looking for that one person that's going to change your business, you need to look in the mirror. These past 6 months, my passion pillar started to crack. It's interesting now how I'm so aware of it and how important it is to have that balance, and I saw it happening. Without that passion, it's impossible to share the business opportunity or get excited with others to develop somebody. I know that now. I didn't know that back then. Have the numbers across the company been down? Yes, we know that. Could it be that we as leaders have taken a step back because we might have cracks in our pillars that need some repairing? Have you lost your belief, your passion, your skill, or your will? We are all the pampered chef, every single one of us in this room. And I know every one of you wants to see their business and our company growing and thriving again. Am I right?
Yes.
And if we are not consistently recruiting, and if we are not consistently developing leaders, how can we ever expect our teams to be? How can our company ever grow again? So are we willing to do what it takes? Are we willing to do what needs to be done to get our personal businesses back on track and to bring our company back to where it once was? I, for one, am ready to get back to work in 2015 and make it the best year ever. And I'm hoping that every single one of you will do the same. And remember, being positive in a negative situation is not naive, it's just leadership.